Good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, July 14th, and thank you so much for joining in to our weekly PPACA webinars. We do have a full agenda today, but I did want to take just a few minutes for those of you that are new to the call. You can ask questions in one of two ways. You can either raise your hand icon, and if you, pardon me, want to test that out just so you can let me know if you can see my screen, that would be great. But if you, thank you, if you want to raise your hand to ask a question, I'm happy to unmute you and you can ask your question to the whole audience, or you can type it into the question box and I will answer at the end of the webinar. So let's get right into it. Pardon me. The new SBC templates for plans renewing on or after April 1st of 2017, this information was just released. The SBCs, of course, were, part of the PPACA law, and in my opinion, are pretty darn confusing. So what they're doing to improve the SBCs, they are adding new language to explain deductibles and what out-of-pocket maxes mean and co-insurance, etc. They are also going to have new coverage examples. Of course, they currently have the diabetes and the childbirth examples, but they're going to add a broken bone example to the SBC. And that's just explaining in real life, based on the plan, how those ailments would be treated under that particular plan. So watch for that. Obviously, we're a little ways out, but I did want to at least share that information. The next bullet point could be relevant to some of you. Manhattan Life had a limited medical plan, and HHS was pushing back, saying that they could not sell these limited medical plans without the purchase of health insurance. So the Federal Appeals Court said to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services that they have no authority under the Affordable Care Act to regulate how these plans are sold. And they went on to say that HHS lacked authority to demand more of the fixed indemnity providers than even Congress required. So I thought that was, a win, and I wanted to mention it. That information is in our newsletter today, so if you want to read more on that, then hopefully it's in your inbox waiting for you to read. So the third bullet point, the one that makes me excited and crazy all at one time, FFM Certification. There are training webinars from CMS. I sat in one yesterday, and there's a series of webinars. There's one segment for those that have not certified, either for the individual market or shop, and those that have certified. But I was actually encouraged in a lot of ways because they've made some improvements this year. They are allowing you, if you're doing the shop, to edit your shop profile on the MLMS site, which of course you obtain by going to portal.cms.gov. You as a registered shop agent are going to be searchable by employers that are looking for assistance. We do not have the employee choice option in Pennsylvania where an employer can allow either one carrier, any metal level for the employees, or one metal level with any carriers. It's the employer picks the plan still, and it's one carrier. They also reminded everyone when you're going in to check to make sure your national producer number is correct. But the two things that make me crazy and excited all at once is the crazy part is that last year the new format for testing was released later than it had the previous 2 years. It was released first week in August the previous 2 years. Last year it was mid-September. But they did say yesterday that it's going to be released, the training, for on or around August 1st. So that's 2 short weeks away, or 3, no 2. So just be mindful of that. And what they said too is if you've already certified in 2000 or for 2016, that when you log back in, you're going to automatically be registered for, get this, the refresher course. So that's very exciting to me, that for all of us that have gone through the same redundant training over and over again, that we are automatically registered for that refresher course, which includes 3 modules and 1 exam. So if you've not certified last year, you have to take the full course. If you did, then you are just going to be responsible for taking the refresher course from that point on. They do suggest using Google or Firefox as the internet for the testing. It works best in those servers or internet. So that's pretty much it. It sounded to me like the certification was going to follow the same sort of pattern last year, or as it did last year, where you log into your portal.cms.gov account, and then you go to your testing, you complete your identity proofing, and then you go into your testing. There will still be another option, another vendor for you, actually 3 other vendors in addition to the MLMS Marketplace testing, which is free. The vendors tend to charge, but they do most for CE course or credit. So again, when you log in, you're going to see all that information and test as is appropriate to you. Still, if you're doing shop, the only thing required is the shop agreement, as it has the last 3 years. And we will be getting some information out. Last year I did a one-on-one webinar just kind of going through the whole registration process, and I will be offering that again this year. And obviously if you have any questions, once we take the testing, we'll be able to hopefully lead you. I did do some screenshots of all the pages that I could. It only started with slide 10 and it goes to 66, so I'm going to scan those and have those available for all of you if you want them. So just shoot me an email or let me know and we'll get those to you. So moving on, a correction to what I said, the AMS United Healthcare individual plan renewals, I originally said that they were terminating June of 2017. That's not the case. They're going to terminate their first renewal in 17. So again, your clients that are insured on the AMS United Healthcare plans that are being discontinued have a choice: either enroll during open enrollment for a full year's deductible, or, and more likely, commission, or wait until their policy terminates mid-year or anytime in 17 and get them enrolled under a qualifying event special election period. Of course, I do think that for the special election periods, commissions are gone, so I know that's not the only determining factor on what you're going to do to help your client, but it should at least be mentioned and taken into consideration. Employer marketplace notices of the advanced premium tax credit for employees. I did include the employer appeal form marketplace, but many employers are getting notices about their employees that have identified them as employers and have also received tax subsidies or cost share reductions. So employers have been getting letters basically saying, you know, Jane Doe has received a tax subsidy and mentioned that you were the employer, and essentially what they want to know is if an offer of affordable employer-sponsored coverage was made. If it was, then they're ineligible for the tax credits. So if you have an employer that receives a notice for somebody that was offered coverage, that waived, and is receiving a tax credit, then the employer must send in that appeal form letting them know that that employee is ineligible for those tax credits. Kind of confusing, but again, if you have questions on that, let me know. On to the next bullet point. I'm happy to say, and quite startled all at the same time that our healthcare reform newsletter is three years old this week. So again, we've been putting out these weekly newsletters, trying to make sure that everybody is informed with this constantly changing law as to any updates that are pertinent. But they come out on Thursdays, and hopefully you find them informative. What I've been trying to do lately is to include the compliance links so that you have more information on compliance that are available to you. In this week's newsletter under product, you're going to see some information from healthcare.gov, and it's going to give information on deductibles that were sold, median deductibles that were sold through the marketplace, how many were enrolled by metal level, by cost share reduction, advanced premium tax credit. So it's a good I think, report, and interesting if you want to take a look at that. But again, there's a lot of information in these newsletters, and hopefully you find them informative. We're going to continue to do them, hopefully, for for years to come. Next, let's see, renewals. Renewals for groups, just asking you to let us quote them for you. Cap Blue Cross, of course, 6/1 renewals through 12/1. Any grandmothered group, they are not keeping their grandmothered provisions, so they must move to a PPACA provision or plan. So let us quote those for you and see what what the best options are. As we mentioned last week and the week before, Highmark is offering early renewal options, as well as Aetna, allowing the groups to keep those grandmothered programs. So that's pretty much it for our agenda today. I'm going to give you a few minutes, pardon me, to type in your questions. While you're doing that, just a reminder, next Thursday, the 21st, we will have another weekly webinar. The following Thursday, I will be on vacation, which is the 28th, and there will not be a webinar that day. So just wanted to remind you of that. Okay, so let's see here. Get the questions going. Nate says, early testing is great, but until we know what and if carriers are paying for commissions, testing is a leap of faith. Any idea when, if these announcements can be expected? Nate, I hear you, and I'm in the same boat. What the carriers are saying, I mean, of course, these plans don't even get approved and final approval from the state until October. So based on their approvals is what the carriers are going to do. They throw all these plans out and see what's going to happen, and based on, for example, what Highmark may do will affect what Capital is going to do. What Highmark has approved may affect what Capital then, wants to keep in their approved plan. So it's a little hard to tell. I have been in touch, obviously, with the carriers, and they have indicated that they are paying commissions during the open enrollment period. What they will be, I don't have a clue. I don't think Highmark could go any lower, but stranger things have happened. And I do, in all fairness, expect that Capital will probably bump down, but I don't know what that means. So again, as soon as I know anything, I'll let you know. Scott says that he had a colleague tell me that he had a client enroll in a plan with during the special election period, and because his doctor no longer participated with the plan he enrolled in, they were able to change plans. Have you ever heard of this? Scott, I've heard of a lot of things. That's certainly not one of the qualifying events, but it's, again, all of these qualifying events are kind of gray, where based on interpretation. Maybe this was a plan that couldn't be used, or they treated it as a marketplace error when they were enrolled. So I have heard of this, but it's not a traditional or listed qualifying event. So that's it. Looks like all the questions are done for today. As always, I really appreciate you joining in. If you have questions or want any of the information that I talked about, just shoot me an email. I'm happy to get that to you. And as always, I wish you a great balance of the week and a wonderful weekend. So have a great day. Bye-bye.